Good morning, it's March 4th and this is your daily brief in science. Here's everything you need to know. A new AI tool called BRAIx is being studied in Australia to refine breast cancer screening. The study, published in The Lancet Digital Health, evaluates whether BRAIx can predict a woman's risk of developing breast cancer within 4 years after a clear mammogram. The goal is to guide screening decisions so high-risk women get closer, monitoring or advanced imaging, while low-risk women space out checkups. Initial findings suggest BRAIx could help identify who should have additional tests and potentially detect cancers that standard mammography might miss earlier. The study notes that real-world impact on mortality, quality of life, and cost-effectiveness still needs prospective confirmation before clinical use. Development faces hurdles including obtaining FDA approval, reimbursement considerations, and ensuring equitable access across diverse populations and imaging systems. Experts emphasize BRAIx is a decision support aid that augments, not replaces, clinical judgment and requires human oversight over sensitivity and specificity. Limitations include a 4-year horizon, possible loss to follow-up bias, and a need for more diverse populations as well as data on mortality and biopsy or intervention rates. The piece is republished from The Conversation and includes funding disclosures for the authors. Funding sources cited include Cancer Australia, the Medical Research Future Fund, and the National Breast Cancer Foundation. The study suggests the potential for cost-neutral implementation, but calls for broader validation and evaluation of integration into routine screening programs. BRAIx received about $5 million from Australia's Medical Research Future Fund, with plans for a smaller prospective real-time study and a goal to roll out BRAIx within 5 years. A new scalable framework aims to redefine how we characterize quantum processes. CQPT, or compilation-based quantum process tomography, uses a trainable compiler that inverses the unknown process to steer outputs back toward the original input, effectively reconstructing intermediate quantum steps with fewer measurements. It starts from a known input state, applies a trainable process, and is optimized to maximize the final output's return to the input, enabling reconstruction with minimal measurement outcomes per state. Researchers from Tohoku University, NIEST, and the University of Information Technology in Vietnam say CQPT can characterize devices more efficiently than traditional quantum process tomography. CQPT offers 2 complementary formulations: a Krauss operator framework for unitary or near-unitary operations, and a Choi matrix framework for general noisy processes, broadening its applicability to realistic devices. The method is designed to be scalable and practical for larger quantum systems, where conventional tomography becomes prohibitively costly. Dr. Lebin Ho notes CQPT's potential as a practical alternative to full QPT, particularly for larger systems. The work includes theoretical analysis and extensive numerical simulations showing accurate reconstruction with reduced measurement overhead. Optimization in CQPT can be performed with only a single measurement outcome per input state, a significant reduction in data needs. The study, published in Advanced Quantum Technologies on February 26, 2026, under the title Advancing Quantum Process Tomography Through Quantum Compilation, comes from teams at Tohoku University, NIEST, and Vietnam National University, Ho Chi Minh City. Future work points to experimental implementation and efforts to improve robustness against hardware imperfections to bridge theory and real hardware diagnostics. A new landmark for hereditary cancer care is launching at Penn Medicine with the King Center for Lynch Syndrome, a first-of-its-kind named center designed to broaden education, expand a biobank, and accelerate clinical trials across basic, translational, and patient care research. Lynch syndrome affects about 1 in 279 Americans, roughly 1.2 million people, with a strong focus on colorectal and endometrial cancer prevention and early detection. Julie Borelli, whose family inspired this work, emphasizes early testing and proactive risk management as central benefits of awareness and care. Clinical management will center on intensified, personalized surveillance by a Lynch syndrome specialist, with early and frequent screenings across multiple organ systems. Co-founder E. John Wary notes that risk is diverse among carriers and underscores tailoring risk prediction and immunotherapy approaches. Penn Medicine already enrolls over 400 Lynch syndrome participants in clinical studies, including many previvors who carry mutations but have not developed cancer. Lynch syndrome results from germline mutations in MMR genes, or EPCAM, causing microsatellite instability and elevating cancer risk, especially colorectal and endometrial cancers, with varying risk by mutation. Jessica Long, a genetic counselor and King Center educator, highlights empowering patients through evidence-based screening and coordinated care among gastroenterologists and other specialists. The King Center will host the 5th Annual Lynch Syndrome Symposium on March 10, 2026, inviting patients, families, and professionals to learn about the latest research and treatment options. This initiative marks a transformative milestone in understanding and combating hereditary cancer risk, blending philanthropy with scientific rigor and patient-centered care. Building on prior support from the King and Borelli families for education, research symposia, and the Jeffrey and Cynthia King Professorship of Lynch Syndrome Research. Injectable mini-livers are advancing from the lab toward the clinic. MIT researchers have created hepatocytes embedded in hydrogel microspheres that can be delivered by syringe-informed vascular connections in place, a non-surgical, self-assembling graft they call InSight. The study shows these grafts can supply liver proteins to the host circulation and remain viable for at least 8 weeks in mice, with ultrasound-guided delivery enabling non-invasive placement and monitoring. The work, led by Sangeeta Bhatia and Vardhman Kumar, was published in Cell Biomaterials and supported by NIH, NSF, Wellcome Leap Hope, and HHMI, with potential for future human testing at larger scales, though timelines and regulatory steps are not yet defined. The engineered niche combines hepatocytes with hydrogel microspheres and supportive fibroblasts to promote vascular integration and graft survival, aiming to function as an alternative to transplantation or as a bridge to transplant. Delivery is ultrasound-guided via syringe, and the approach seeks to reduce the need for immediate transplantation while increasing access for patients ineligible for traditional transplants. Future work will explore graft sites beyond belly fat, improve integration with host tissue, and pursue immune evasion strategies or localized immunosuppression to minimize rejection. The researchers anticipate a pathway to non-invasive liver support therapies that could be scalable or repeatable, potentially alleviating donor organ pressures as the field pursues broader clinical translation. In mice, the grafts injected into perigonadal adipose tissue formed a stable vascularized unit and began supplying liver proteins to the host circulation, remaining functional for 8 weeks. The core advance is the hydrogel microsphere scaffold that creates a vascularized niche, enabling rapid integration with the host circulation and preservation of liver functions such as filtration, protein synthesis, and metabolic processing. A new $352 million funding opportunity from the United States Department of Energy aims to accelerate basic research underpinning energy technologies through Energy Frontier Research Centers. The program focuses on breakthroughs in critical minerals, quantum computing, and advanced manufacturing by fostering collaboration among universities, DOE national laboratories, and other institutions. Eligible applicants include accredited U.S. colleges and universities, national laboratories, nonprofit organizations, and private sector companies, with a goal of connecting researchers across academia, national labs, and industry. A key element is advancing cross-disciplinary outcomes by uniting researchers from diverse sectors to speed discovery and tool development. A webinar to discuss the opportunity is set for March 9, 2026, at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, with registration via Zoom. Energy Secretary notes AI as a key enabling technology for accelerating fundamental science, including fusion research, and sees it as having a catalytic impact on scientific progress. The initiative aligns with broader aims to unify federal research efforts and leverage high-performance computing for emerging technology research. Since 2009, EFRCs have supported 107 centers across more than 190 institutions, trained over 6,200 people, and produced thousands of publications and hundreds of patents. Proposals may cover topics such as unconventional computing, AI and machine learning for materials and chemistry, complex chemical systems, critical minerals and materials, nuclear energy science, subsurface science, electrical energy storage, advanced manufacturing, microelectronics, and quantum systems. DOE positions the EFRC program as a bridge across disciplines to accelerate discovery and to train the next generation of energy scientists. Recipients include U.S. colleges and universities, national laboratory researchers, and private sector companies, addressing fundamental questions across materials sciences, chemistry, geosciences, and biosciences. The program builds on the EFRC model by prioritizing collaboration between national laboratories and universities to speed discovery, tool development, and workforce training for the American energy science enterprise. This has been your daily brief in science. To read more about these stories, follow the links in the episode bio. You can also subscribe to these updates via email at www.brief.news. For more daily podcasts about the topics you love, visit brief.news/podcasts. Tune in tomorrow. We'll be back with everything you need to know.